Welcome to the 18th episode of the Illegal Use of Hand Sands, the Face Football Podcast. How you doing, Jake?
I'm great, Hayden. How are you?
Tremendous, as per usual. Doesn't change much around here. We're talking about football. Today's a great day. We're talking about the big boys up front on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes, the big fellas up front. It's been an interesting watch. Getting a look at these guys.
Yeah, you were real excited for it, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
This is the position group that has been the most anticipated.
Mm-hmm. All the bot comments have just been spamming.
They've been screaming for offensive linemen.
Yeah,
like,
along with a link. Yeah, along with a link for a Trojan virus in there in the comments. Also, when's the lineman video coming?
Yeah, that was the secret invisible text that they added on.
Oh yeah. That's just what spams your screen constantly before it crashes your computer.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Yeah. Okay. So two things happened this week. Which one do you want to talk about first? Because they're for two very important football teams, the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, let's talk about the Bills first. Just get that out of the way.
Okay. Well, we got Forrest Lamp coming in. That I don't know. That actually seems like it's news with how barren the news landscape was this past week, basically. But yeah, and I'm excited because we have the best name in the NFL, and I don't care to analyze it any more than that. We have the best name in the NFL, so I like the signing.
Mm-hmm. That picture of him with the Forrest Lamp with the Forrest Lamp. You've seen that picture before, like the whole wooden weaving lamp, and he's getting ready to blow. I love that picture.
I think so. I can't remember it very clearly, but yeah, I think I did at one point in time. And then the Bengals released Giovanni Bernard, which I didn't even know was legal.
Yeah, I figured he was just one of those guys where like you just couldn't cut him. And the Bengals decided, nah, we really need Joe Burrow to have some sustained success, so let's get rid of the only vet that we really have anymore in Gio Bernard.
That's very true, and it's funny because it's just like I feel like he's been on that team basically like 1 year after I started watching football. He entered the league, and then that was like the only like season or two that I remember him actually like doing anything significant, and then he's just been on the team ever since then, but just like the backup or whatever.
Yeah, it's been one of those things that you can always count on year after year. Gio Bernard is going to be on the Bengals, but I mean, this pandemic has changed everything.
Absolutely. Just having to get Giovanni out of town. It's so unfair. It's cruel world. Would you like to lead us off in discussing some offensive linemen?
Yes. So basically for our top 10s, it's just going to be the 10 overall linemen, tackle, guard, center, left, right, doesn't matter. Just what we think they should be top 10 wise. So at 10 for me, I've got Deontay Brown out of Bama. The dude is an absolute behemoth of a human. He looks like a boulder. But with that, he cannot pull on any play because he's just not going to block anyone on it. He is very, very slow, but no one's getting past him, but he just can't do anything. So I have him at 10 just because of how slow he is. Not reaction-wise, but just I saw plays where Bama was pulling him. It's like, why? There's no point at that. Just have him take a snap off at that point.
So, guard, I'm guessing?
Yes. He's a left guard.
Okay. Well, what do you think he could make the transition if he needed to switch which guard he was playing?
It's going to be tough. He would have to walk all the way from the left guard spot to the right guard spot, so I don't know.
I should have said this when we were introducing just offensive linemen in general, but really, it's weird. It feels like every school is just like, we don't really care. Like if you're like any bit big at all, we're just gonna make you a tackle because tackle is the most important position on the offensive line. So like all my guys are tackles because that's how they got ranked by other people. So that's how I
Yeah, and at
I
any
looked
point
it
they
up.
could just and at any point in the NFL they could just chuck them inside. Like uh Cody Ford's a great example of it. It's like, oh yeah, he's a right tackle. Oh, he's a right guard. Oh, well now he's a left guard now at this point, and they've just moved him
Yep,
around constantly.
yep. Doesn't matter. It's easy enough. Uh,
Yep.
and they said Madden was stupid for offensive linemen overalls not changing when you change their position. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Just block.
Yeah. The only thing that's stupid at Madden is that your your left tackle can be your long snapper, and it's gonna be
No,
yeah,
that's like the most logical thing in the world. There's nothing like having your franchise left tackle at like 39 years old be your long snapper.
we need
Get
a veteran
Whitworth out
presence
there.
on special teams.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the worst player I watched, in my opinion, was Jalen Mayfield. Jalen Mayfield is an offensive tackle from Michigan. Just saying, I did not see him do anything at a level that was better than average, and basically anything I saw him do that was any bit decent was seemingly followed by a pretty negative play that I didn't enjoy watching. So he was the worst guy I got to see, at least that I got to see.
Yeah, I watched his tape too. I mean, out of all the like top 10 or out of all the tackles that are projected to go in the first round, I thought he was the worst one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I've seen him like mocked higher than some of the guys that I have like in my top 3.
Yeah, I think I think this is how it happens every year. Is linemen are just random.
Yeah,
It's like
just,
no one has any clue how to rank linemen, but they'll act like they know how to rank linemen.
yeah, well, it's just whoever is the first one to rank them, then everyone else will just rank them the same.
Follow suit.
Yeah. And
Who
that
you got
first
at
guy
9?
that ranked them closed his eyes and just threw a dart at names. It's like,
That's true.
that guy's a
that's
first
probably
rounder.
the basis. It's like, all right, that Sewell guy out of Oregon seems pretty good. All right, now let's start throwing the darts.
Yeah, yeah. We have the consensus number 1. Everyone else after him, we're just picking names out of a bucket.
Honestly, who you got at 9?
At 9, this is the 9th name that I picked out of the bucket.
Okay.
No, no. I got Ben Cleveland. He's a guard. He was playing snaps at left and right guard when I watched him. I think he made the transition from his junior to senior year, or sophomore to junior, whatever year he's in. He is same thing that you said for Jalen Mayfield. He's very, very average at everything. He never really wowed me. He's solid. He's solid. He's like right there. He's serviceable at run block and pass protection, but he's not anything like really special that really jumped out at me. But he's not bad, so he gets above Deontay Brown for just being like, yeah, you can move.
It's fun watching the linemen because it's a difference than other things, because like I'm getting most of my like content for these guys, every position, from YouTube, right? So I'm just like linemen are the only one that is literally just like, okay, we're not cutting up a highlight reel for you, or at least most of them. We're not cutting up a highlight reel for you. We're just gonna have to watch like a whole game of each guy to actually see how he's doing. We're not cutting anything up, so it's funny to see that.
Yeah.
My number 9 guy is Alex Leatherwood, who is a offensive tackle at Bama. Just size-wise, I would say offensive guard makes more sense for him. He's big. I said maybe he could play guard. I basically only worry about the speed rush against him, so like I figure that's less likely to happen with him being on the inside. So if we're not scared of the speed rush, I feel like guard is a better position for him to play.
Yeah, for my tackles, he was 5, and I ranked the top 5 for each position at tackle, guard, and center, and he was 5 there for me. What I saw from him was he was good, but he just didn't like play nasty at all. Like he just didn't have any like no real dog in him to do anything.
There's
It's
at
like you
least
can't.
one guy who did that.
Yeah. And like at tackle, you kind of need that. At guard too. Every position on the O line, you need that. But I did write down too that they should probably move him inside. And yeah, just the nasty thing. You can't really teach that. So
Fair
I don't
enough.
know.
Fair.
Maybe
Fair.
if he gets the right coaches that can pump it out of him.
No,
Maybe.
no heavily what do you call it? Heavily disputed choices yet by either of us, I don't think.
Yeah. At 8 for me, a guard out of Ohio State. I got Wyatt Davis. What I saw from him, this is the only real comment that I had about him was he's really great in pass pro, but he does not finish his blocks in the run game. And yeah, that's all I really had to say. I watched I can't remember who Ohio State was playing, but I watched like all the offensive snaps from that game, or half of them at least, and he was like, "Yeah, you're stopping everything that's coming at you when you're in pass protection, but in run, he basically threw whoever he had. If it was a run up the middle, he was throwing whoever he was blocking like onto the tackle next to him. He's just like, I don't want to do this.
I'm good. I don't want to do
Yeah,
this.
which is really weird because usually for offensive linemen, it's like they want to get in the run game, they want to run a guy over, they want to put him on his back,
Yeah.
and he just seemed more comfortable. Like, yeah, let me just let you win here. Yeah, let me just get comfortable. It was weird.
My number 8 guy, the only center I have is Creed Humphrey, and I guess maybe he may be considered a guard as well, but I want to put him at center so I can have a center on my list. Listen, the big reason that he is this high, 2 spots higher than the worst spot, the reason he's this high is because he took one of those guys that come out of Pitt. And those Pit boys, you know all of them basically got rabies. They're flying all over the field ready to kill somebody.
Oh yeah.
There's one specific snap of him in drills at the Senior Bowls just handling one of those Pit boys. So I took big influence in that play. He's also one of the only top interior guys, so that helps him. And he's not great, but I like what I see.
Yeah, he's ranked at 7 for me.
Okay.
And he's kind of the opposite of what I saw from Wyatt Davis. Of he finishes in the run game and he manhandles guys. But in pass pro, he doesn't react as fast as you'd like to see a center to. At least that's what I saw. There were just sometimes where he's getting his head up late. So that's why I think, like you said, he's probably going to be a guard in the NFL, but having him at center is nice just to have center on the list.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So my number 7 is Jackson Carman out of Clemson, offensive tackle. He feels a lot like Lane Johnson, like just looks, size, kind of how he plays. So he's like fairly mobile, and he's basically slim for an offensive tackle. So not flashy, like said about a decent number of guys so far. Not anything crazy, but if you're looking for that style of tackle, I think you get a little bit deeper into the draft, like past the first round. Like maybe he's an interesting guy for your team based off what you want to do specifically. Like first team that comes to mind is like Arizona or something like that type of scheme.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't watch much of him. The list that I looked at didn't have him in the top 10 of his position, so I watched a little bit of the guys after he was one of them. I think he was 11 or 12. It's probably just a thing of me not watching a lot on him to have him on my list, but yeah,
Don't worry, you're not offending me, but if he watches the podcast, like,
I'm sorry.
Watch out.
I will send you the link to the list that I look at, and you can take it up with them.
Yeah. I won't, but okay.
At 6 for me, he's listed as a center. I saw him play every single position on the offensive line when I watched his film. And that's my guy, Quinn Miners, out of D3 Wisconsin Whitewater. I loved watching him do drills at the Senior Bowl. I watched those when they happened, and I went back and watched YouTube videos of him at the Senior Bowl. For a D3 guy, he was handling guys that are like Quiddy Pay and all those other guys that are projected to go high in the first round. He was handling them. Uh, and at the D3 level, you need to be dominant. Like you need to kill guys, and he did that every single snap. He was killing guys. Uh, yeah, and he's at 6 because of the D3 school. If he went to like a school in the SEC or Big Ten, he'd probably be the number 2 ranked offensive lineman uh in the whole draft. But going to D3 and also being a guard slash center, not really listed as a tackle, that's, you know, he's gonna be an early day 2 pick is what I kind of gathered from watching it, mainly just because of the interior position and the D3 school.
It's interesting. I mean, got my attention now. Now I'm gonna have to go take a peek at him. Okay. Maybe the first like name that is decently well known on my list. Kind of like that's probably not true because, like you said before, Mayfield's probably considered a first round pick. But Elijah Vera Tucker is my number 6. For him, I just wrote nice, solid, balanced pass blocker. And he's got a good base in his pass blocking. But I don't know why. Something just feels like it's lacking in the run game department. I just wrote like no oomph, like no like real power behind it. So no like knocks on him, just like not really impressed in the run game.
Yeah, he's at 5 for me. So, I'll just get to him right now. Uh I what in the list that you have, what did it have him listed as, a tackle or guard?
Tackle, but when I was watching him, I also
Mm-hmm.
only saw him at tackle.
Yeah. Had the list I had him listed as tackle too, but to me, he was getting beat a lot. Uh, on like some of those guys that just run straight around him, and I mean, there's nothing that anyone could really do about that because it's just so stupid. But
There's nothing you can do.
I,
We're just
I,
giving up on it.
yeah.
Chase Young has won. His entire breed has won. That's
Uh,
not true, though.
but for it says on my list for him that he's listed as a tackle, but like should play guard. Um, yeah, the first thing I said play tackle, but most likely should transition to guard the NFL. Better in the run than in the pass is what I saw. But he was very solid in both. I mean, that he starts off my top 5, and with all these guys like in the top 5, I think until 1, from 5 to 2, I'm very okay with these guys being taken in the first round.
I only love my top 3, really.
Okay.
I'm guessing that by the time we get through all the other positions, that I will have. I'm guessing that just the top 3 would be the guys that I really like as first round picks. Maybe 2 other guys as really late first round picks, but not like guaranteed even.
All right.
5 for me is Christian Darrisaw. I really like his ability to work laterally in the run game. It didn't seem like anybody else was really doing that as much. Just the scheme he was in at Virginia Tech kind of had stuff getting either laterally and then he was working against it, or it was laterally and he was working with it. Either way, I mean, it just seemed like he was doing well in anything that was trying to get to the sideline, basically. Just an all right pass blocker. And then one thing that I just said about him, because of the other guys at the top, he was the second guy I watched, and it was like watching Penei Sewell work in space was like very key. It was like a huge part of this game, like screen passes or anything, getting out behind him. It was like working really well. And I only mentioned that because he followed right after Penei Sewell, but yeah, he just didn't see that part from him of him ever getting out into space, really.
Yeah, he's at 4 for me. I said
Jeez.
that he's
I just got
all
one
of
guy moved up. I've got
yeah.
one guy moved up ahead of you, and besides that, we're like perfectly even.
Uh, uh said that he's all around great at everything. And then I think he was the third guy I saw. It was Sewell, then Slater, then him. And both of those guys, like you said, operated in space fairly well. And then I said lackluster in the screen game. And he's good to overextend at least once a game. There's just I watched two different games. It was like the first half for both of them, and there's just try to stick a guy, and he'll whiff on it so bad it looks like he's gonna fall on his face. But that's something that could easily be corrected if you have like a good O line coach. So it's not like uh a mechanics thing or whatever. Like his kick steps
He's
is
done for.
terrible.
He won't be able
Yeah,
to play in the league.
no, he's just very over aggressive one play a game, and it usually bites him. But I if you get a good O line coach that says, "Hey, don't do that," just never do that. Uh, it's gonna happen, and even if in the NFL, if it happens once a game, it's not really that big of a deal. Every single quarterback now is athletic. Just don't put him in Tampa Bay, I guess, because Brady has no chance of getting away from a guy that comes off the edge.
Just
Everyone
dies.
else now. Everyone else now
That'll be
usually
how
have a
Tom
chance.
Brady's career ends. Actually,
Yeah,
it'll just be
Christian
because
Derrick.
just because he gets drafted by them and then screws everything up. All right, you ready for my number 4 guy?
Sure, I really hope it's not my number 3 guy.
It's not. It's not. I can promise you, it's not. That's what I was gonna actually say, because you already said his name. Wyatt Davis. Oh, Ohio State. So, right outside my elite tier, right? My elite tier is that top 3. All right, Wyatt Davis, he gets the nod. Like the agility and size combo, I think it's good. I liked how he moved. And then solid job holding his ground in the passing game, which is you said you're more using the run game. So I guess that kind of persists because I didn't write anything too great about him in the run game. But he's getting the nod all over all the other people that I don't consider elite because his grandfather played for Vince Lombardi. So, I mean, you get those family ties in the NFL and it's over. It's all over.
I don't know, man. That's not the same thing as his son. The genes might have been diluted at this point. His dad really missed the chance to be a stud at the NFL.
Nah. Trust me. This is even better. This is like an upgrade.
They've had time to ferment, man.
Like,
it's there.
Like
It's like a fine wine.
I can't say that I remember anything about Red Grange, but like watch out, like 20 years from now, his great grandkid is about to show out at the the Senior Bowl. I don't
know. Oh man. At 3 for me, I've got tackle out of Oklahoma State, Tevin Jenkins. The dude is a baby face murderer. He looks adorable, and he just looks like he will kill you. He finishes his blocks every single time. There is going to be a guy that ends up flat on his back every time. The one knock that I have against, he would be 2. He would definitely be 2. But I haven't seen anyone suggest him transitioning to guard. But that's what I think he should do because his arms seem pretty short for a tackle. That's just what it seemed like to me. His arms seem pretty short for a tackle. If he was listed as a guard or his arms were longer, he would be 2. But it's just his arms. That's the only knock I have against him.
This is terrible, but do you know what I just thought of?
What?
This is like the beginning of the B movie. Okay?
Oh,
It's like
little wings are too short
it's
for its
like
fat body.
it's like it's not supposed to be able to fly. But guess what? It, when did his arms not work when he was playing? They
Oh
worked
no,
the whole
they
time.
definitely did.
There
It's
was
just
like no. This guy was freaking dominant, and there's no way that I'm about to say that he should be ranked lower because his arms didn't meet a certain requirement. No way,
that's
bro.
that's just that's
No
just what
way.
that's just what I thought.
Rashawn Slater. I enjoyed this so much. I was so happy. This is the kryptonite to the evil that has entered the league in the past year. Rashawn Slater needs to go to the Giants, Cowboys, or Eagles purely so we can teach the rest of the league that it is possible to stop Chase Young and what he does because it's not that hard, and Rashawn Slater is great at it. I said apparently he's got a great kick slide because Chase Young can't get past him. I like him against finesse rushers most of the NFL. Like I said, yeah, most of the NFL is finesse rushers. So no film against real power rushes, but I'm not concerned because he's a good run blocker too. So even if he's weaker in the power rush game, I don't care because that's really not what most defensive ends and outside linebackers are working with nowadays. If that happens, if they run into a team once or twice a year that has a power rusher, honestly, it's okay because he's so like skilled against guys like Chase Young. I love him.
Yeah, I have him at 2. I've seen in a couple of mock drafts that I watched, people
Eighth
have
rounder.
no, people have like Penei Sewell falling and him being the first tackle off the board.
I don't like that though.
I don't, yeah,
I like him, but I
but
don't like that.
no, I really like him too. He is, first thing I said in all caps is quick and dominant. Uh, People don't get past him. He's very fast for being like 300 plus pound left tackle. Um, Between the two, he excels the most in pass protection. Like you said, he didn't really deal much with like a lot of power rush coming right at him. So you can't really evaluate him on that because there's not really a lot of film of him dealing with that. But in the run game, he flattens guys, but not as often as who I have at number 1, or even the guy at 3 below him. So
Oh, I trying to figure out who you could have at 1. Whatever. Maybe I'll figure it out later. Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State again. This man gets pancakes in pass pro. Nobody does that. And he does it on a fairly consistent basis. He is a football player, unlike any of these other guys I watched. These other guys look like they're ballerinas compared to what he's doing. Good lord. Also the angles he takes in like the run game, that what I saw from that was like really impressive, and how he would get himself into position that he was not like supposed to be able to get into. Like he would reach block a guy, like he would get a guy who would have like a 2-yard split to the right of him or something, like a D lineman or something, and he would be able to like step and somehow get in front of them with the angles he somehow made, and then he would shield him off so that the running backs would have a perfect lane to cut back through or whatever you have in the situation that they were trying to create. And he was really a weapon in that element. I mean, that's really important. And I talk about us with the Bills and how everybody's talking about running back. I don't want to go running back. The running game was poor because the offensive line wasn't blocking well enough. Really underrated. Just like general fan stuff. It's way too overlooked when it's like, oh, we block well in the pass game. Well, that doesn't mean necessarily that your team's going to block well in the running game, because we have 2 solid running backs, and neither of them, I would say it's their faults for our lack of a run game over the past year or so, or 2. But then the last thing I said is I didn't like Joseph Asai out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But other people really like him, and he's potentially going to be a high pick as well. Jenkins just destroyed him. Like the entire game against Texas. Just absolutely wrecked him. It's not even funny how many times he just lays him out and makes him look like a fool, and meanwhile he may be going in the first round as well. He may even go before Jenkins, and Jenkins is showing him up.
Yeah, it's weird. I when I was looking at because my list has like an average like projection where he's supposed to be taken. It's like, oh yeah, Tevin Jenkins is like anywhere between 28 to like 38. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Dude, I gotta wonder what their standard deviations on that are, but, yeah, no, I would like, as soon as Sewell is off the board, I would consider drafting him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of those. He's like the only two absolutely insane athletes that we've seen so far. In terms of positions we've covered, so this is excluding tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, fullbacks, and quarterbacks. The only two guys that I would really say that about are him and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Like just absolute freaks. Even though Sewell's better than him, and like,
yeah. You want to just get into the Sewell conversation? We both have him at 1, correct?
No.
Oh, okay.
He didn't make my top 10.
Yeah. And at 1, I've got out of Stanford center Drew Dahlman.
What's a good name? You know what I noticed while I was watching Oregon though? Oregon has a second receiver named, I think, something similar to like John Johnson the third is on the Browns now, and Johnny Johnson the third was on the Ducks. Well, they had somebody else too that I feel like it was Jaquan Johnson, but it may not have been. I don't know. He was number 6. I can't remember what his name was, but he had one of those fun names like that too. I just thought that was fun to point out.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a peek at their roster real quick because I feel like I've number 6. That's a quarterback, and that's 6. So I'm going to assume that he's a freshman backup. So there might be another guy that's number 6.
Check. You may have to go back if this is 2021.
Micah Pittman.
No, you may have to go back a season. Like, you may have to go to, like, 2020's roster or 2019's roster. Because I'm pretty sure it was probably 2019 film, because it was Penei Sewell stuff. And he didn't play this year, right?
Yeah, he didn't play this year.
Yeah, so I'd go back to 2019 if you're going to keep
I'll find it later. I'll find it later. Yeah, but Penei Sewell, we both have him at 1. He's kind of, without a doubt, the best offensive lineman in the draft. I don't. It's kind of like the art. I know that you think Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the draft, but when it comes to like analyzing Trevor Lawrence, which we're going to get to, and I have a feeling we're going to disagree.
And I promise I am not going to treat him fairly at all.
Yeah. So, better sense. It's like us talking about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. We don't really have much to say because he's just obviously the best one.
Oh, well, I'll point out all the reasons why, but I mean, it is pretty obvious. Would you like me to get into it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just rattling off a quick step or quick things. Yeah.
Let me open on this note because I thought it was funny. One of the plays I was watching from one of the commentators was quoted saying, not about Sewell, but about the play while it was happening. He goes dives into the end zone standing up. Just really enjoyed hearing that, so I thought I should share that. Okay, Penei Sewell. He's got a great base and pass protection, wonderfully. wonderful, does a great job identifying who to block in space. That was an amazing thing. Basically, anytime they would just purposely like get plays where he would get out in space because it was so fun to watch him roam and just find like the perfect candidate to absolutely wreck. And I mean, there's a few times where I feel like he gets like multiple pancake blocks consecutively on the same play. I feel like at least once I saw that. The other thing that was crazy about him is it was like, we talk about those speed rush guys, now how they're kind of dominating the NFL. The thing is if a guy was lined up across from him and he didn't like meet like a certain size requirement, like he wasn't at least 6'3" and 235 pounds, or probably even more than that. If he wasn't at least 6'3" and 245, it was like there's no chance you're getting past him. Like no matter what you do, there's no chance you're getting past him, because you needed to have at least some size to even make him move an inch, because he wasn't going to give any ground. Even if you tried to run around the outside of him, he was able to get back in time. And then once he finally connected with you, he wasn't going to let you go anywhere. That was absolutely tremendous. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about him. But I mean, yeah, super impressive. And like I said before, he was the only guy who excelled that much in space. It's wild. You don't see guys at the NFL level being able to do what he did once he got out in front of a play.
Mm-hmm. The only guy that I really saw him have trouble with is my guy, number one ranked interior defensive lineman, J2 That's even after they moved him to the outside to have to deal with him. It's like, we got to give Sewell some trouble. Why don't we just put the secret weapon J2 out there?
Secret weapon, he's unstoppable.
But yeah, I watched. He was like the only offensive lineman that had a highlight reel, so I got to see like multiple different games.
No, that's true. I actually saw 3 of these guys had highlight reels for me. I don't know. I looked a little longer.
Yeah.
Before I selected what I was watching.
But out of all the guys, like the only ones that I saw create, or the only guy that I saw really create any havoc and like give him any trouble was J2 And even then, I think J2 is good. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna get beat. Everyone gets beat. So if you're gonna get beat, you might as well have one of the best guys in the Pac-12 beat you.
Beat you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
so he had like the best defensive lineman in the Pac-12 beat him from time to time. So,
and like I said with Jenkins before, is that was one of the things that impressed me. Is like, okay, if you're gonna go against good talent, it's okay if the good talent beats you. Just don't get beat by the bad talent. But the thing that's wild is when you just go and absolutely wreck the good talent that's across from you. So yeah, I mean, I really would consider taking Tevin Jenkins a lot higher than a lot of other people would. That's for sure. I don't know. Man, quick episode. I have no idea how long it's been, but that felt pretty quick, because I mean, I don't know how much elaborating we did. I don't know if we had enough elaborating. Oh well, it's okay. Hopefully our listeners still enjoyed.
Yeah. Do you think we should just cut it here?